it's not just coffee talk, it's espresso talk, it's black tea talk, and it's water talk today. So yeah. I gotta find a solution though. I actually have a streaming camera and I have a streaming, OBS software. I gotta set that up for you guys so I can stream properly. Like if you are into watching more of the live streams, or maybe I intend this to be something that you can just watch when you, I don't know, not in the shower, but maybe when you fall asleep. I think with live streams are just so relaxing. Sometimes I watch them to just fall asleep and chill, and or while I'm on the treadmill or something like that. I'm not really on the treadmill. I think that's stupid. I prefer the Stairmaster. Anyway, let's just wait a little bit for people to come in and check out the live stream, and then we get into the topic of today, which is being a giant fucking people pleaser and woke as fuck, which I find to be very annoying and stupid and moronic. So I want to talk about how social media pisses me off in today's day and age, and why I think that my generation is not a fit with today's youth, aka Gen Z, and they go in the direction of being pretty extreme when it comes to, I don't know, just what is this chat here? Let's see. Just living life in general. So, come on, comment, come back up. Oh yeah. Wie schön, ich freue mich, genieße deinen Kaffee. Enjoy your coffee, thank you. And good morning, nice to see you too. And by the way, if you guys want to support the channel, then turn on ads. Don't use ad block on my page. Or just give a little like. That will also support the channel and allow me to do more weird live streams. So yeah, anyway, I think we're good. It's 2 people watching. That's a lot for a channel my size. It's like if you have 1,000 followers and 1 is watching, you're doing well. So let's just start and hop into the topic. I just recently had a really weird experience. I'm gonna get into that later, but it really made me think about how people act on social media nowadays, because I believe that it's very, very sad that it is how it is. And what I mean by that is, when you're a person on the internet and you're publishing content, what is happening is that people care about every single sentence that you say. And it's not like a normal conversation that you can just film a video and be like, blah, 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 blah. And then there's a sentence the other person doesn't agree with, and you blah, blah, blah on. And then this person interrupts you and says like, how did you mean that? Like really, do you think that way? For instance, I have a good friend and he is into fast cars. I'm an environmentalist. I think fast cars are stupid. Like, there is no excuse. They're just 100% stupid. Racing, all that stuff, I think it's extremely stupid. I do not engage with it. I don't like it. I think it's a waste of money and resources, and I don't get why people are into it. Would I end a friendship over that? Fuck no, I'm not a fucking moron. Like, I don't get it. Why do people need 100% agreement with other people? Like, why does your overlap has to be this? This is boring. This is interesting. This is 2 different people who have nothing in common. But this is interesting and this is fucking boring, okay? So, yeah, I just don't get that. That will never be me. And maybe I'm even a little bit offended by that, because I'm just such a giant Karen. And anyway, so I have this friend and he really likes cars. He actually works with a car company, or a person that makes a company that makes parts for a car. If you're watching, hi, I hate you shitty cars, don't speed. We need a speed limit on German highways. I'm totally speed limit. So, because there is no speed limit here. But it's kind of ridiculous because a lot of streets, the most important highways, they all have a speed limit. So it's a little bit, dumb to keep like these patches where you can speed and be like, oh yeah, I'm the king of the road. So I think that's childish, but I mean, maybe there is something that makes you do that. As in, I don't know, not having had a lot of Matchbox cars as a kid or something. So I'm empathetic, and I think that it actually doesn't matter. Like if you are a person that in general just tries to do good and not be super wasteful, and then your joy is to smoke cigarettes or to race cars, like I'm kind of not into that moral shit kind of thing. I was into that shit when I was a vegan and when I was like very deep into all this zero waste stuff. I'm still all for zero waste because I think it's a good thing. I don't think that you can get to zero. I think that's stupid, but you can get pretty low and without like an inhumane effort, you know, without an inhumane impact on your life. If you even can, if you should even say that, you know, it's all doable. We're all privileged here because, you know, we have internet access, we have informational access. It's not like it's a big ask to say like, come on, buy the stuff without the plastic that's available to you, and maybe don't eat all that stuff that is wrapped in that shit all the time, because we all know it's not really recycled. So I don't think that's a big ask. But no, I would not end a friendship over that kind of disagreement. If somebody says, I don't like that, I won't do that. For instance, I think that it's just really weird when I see people today, educated academics, meet them on, you know, your average parent party, and they're going for their first kid, and they're like, oh, I'm so excited, and then they're gonna tell me all the bullshit that they're gonna buy for their kid they don't need. And in my head, I'm like, well, I'm a minimalist, and I think that all of this is ridiculous. Will I blast that in their face and be like, you're some fucking morons, you don't need a stroller? No, I'm not gonna say that. Not because I don't think it's a little bit true. I actually don't think you're a moron if you want a stroller, because there's a good reason for a stroller maybe in your life. Like if you have a C-section, you might just need one because you cannot carry your child. And there are other reasons, you know, but you know, buying one, like friends of us, they bought one because uh, their mother, the mother of the mother, wanted to, you know, have a stroll with the grandchild. I would never do that. Like I'm a minimalist at heart. I would never buy something to please my mom. Like I literally give presents like that away. And the thing is that I believe that a lot of people just don't know how much they don't need. They just don't know how much they don't need, and that is why they accumulate all this stuff. They don't even think about it, and they just assume that it's going away eventually. And I don't know. I actually don't know what those people are thinking. But the thing is that I don't get why you would be so religious about this whole thing. You know, not just from the minimalism side, but from the other side too. Like, I need this. If you say it's not good, you're taking away my right to express myself or whatever. It's just so idiotic to say that consumerism is the same thing as freedom. Your consumerism isn't your freedom. If you think that, you're kind of, I don't know, how can I say this other than saying you're brainwashed by capitalism? But because that's also an extreme I don't want to feed into. I don't really think that that is how it works. Like we all have a free will here, you know. So anyway, I went on a tangent here, so I'm going to get back on topic. Coffee. What should I do next? Black tea or water? You decide. So yeah. Anyway, I was saying that when I'm on one of these typical parent parties and I meet parents that are like, oh, I need a stroller and I totally want to use normal diapers, as if that was not an active decision. It's just like what you do, it's normal. And maybe for some people it is, but for me, I'm kind of in this place where I think like, dude, you're an academic. You're at the top level of information access. You are supposed to know that cloth diapers are the way to go, especially if you're staying at home, not relying on daycare. Like, this is your option. This is the one you should pick. You know it. Like, And that is not just morally superior, that is informationally superior. It's objectively superior. However, am I going to break up a friendship over somebody saying, well, but I'm lazy, I don't want to do it? No, I'm going to challenge them. But I'm not going to break up a friendship over that, because that's so dumb and so superficial, and I don't like people being dumb and superficial. I would break up a friendship over being dumb and superficial. Yeah, that's probably a no deal thing for me. So anyway, you didn't tell me what to drink, so I'm gonna drink black tea. And yeah, but I see that kind of thing a lot. Like people making their chemistry dependent on those. What, you don't see an image? It's fucking weird. I don't know what that is. Maybe the live stream quality is bad. I'm gonna take it to my other room. That is weird. Let's see if the Wi-Fi is better in the other room. Maybe then you will see an image. Just like, let me take you to this room. Anyone else doesn't see an image here? Like, you let me know. Ooh, I'm gonna spill coffee all over the place. Okay. We're as close as it gets to the Wi-Fi now. So let's see if that is better. Maybe it's also just my phone, you know, because I think my phone is kind of full with video. So if you don't see me anymore, is the image back? That's good. Okay, so now we're here in my room with way better lighting. Good. I'm gonna just drink my coffee here. So anyway, I don't get why people are so superficial nowadays, and especially why people want that you agree with them like 100%. Like if that's your favorite influencer, you know, you want to be like them, and you want them to be like you. Sorry for the shaking, I just have to set it up here on my table. So, and I don't get that. For instance, I'm not a dog person. Do I stop watching Jonna Jinton because she loves her dog? No, that's stupid. And now the problem, what I have most in today's internet culture, that is when people make wokeness their main criterion for being somebody's friend. As in, if you're on the same woke level, oh, then we have chemistry. And if you're not, then you're a conservative, a Nazi, a weirdo, a Karen, I don't know, a bigot. That's basically what I feel is today's internet. And that is why I stay away from Instagram a lot of the time, because I think it's just so frustrating that whenever you get into a thing, a debate with people, or just you befriend people online, you think like, oh yeah, we got a nice thing going here. And then you get at this point where you disagree about some minor woke shit, and they ditch you. Just like that, without saying anything. And so I think I offended somebody, like a very old internet friend that I had for years. We even met a few times. I'm not gonna say who it is, but you know, it's just like we met a few times, and we didn't have like super good chemistry. I think we are just too different. But you know, I always respected this creator, and I felt like this creator, they also respected me. But recently I just found that they left. Like, they followed me before I followed them for a long time, did stuff together, met a few times, you know, that kind of thing. And I think I said something about I don't know, one or two things I believe would have caused this, because I always see like when I post something critical, then like 10 or 20 people just leave my Instagram and be like, oh no, I don't want to have anything to do with that person anymore. And I think I said something about fat acceptance or body positivity and how it has changed in 2020, and that I don't think it's cool. And also I said something about cultural appropriation, I guess. And that is why I chose the thumbnail of this video, because I appropriate a lot of stuff and I think that's fine. I don't think that one culture owns a hairstyle or a certain type of spoon. I think that's perfectly superficial and idiotic. And if you are kind of making your personality and culture out to be about a certain object, that's not very deep. And if you feel threatened by others, then taking that, that's also not very deep. That's like schoolgirl level envy shit. Just like, no, don't bullshit me. So, and I said something about that in that style probably because, you know, usually I'm being pretty intense, sarcastic, and cynic when I'm talking about these topics because they just annoy me. And I think that not enough people, especially my generation, speak up about how stupid this all is. And because, you know, we had coping strategies before the internet was there. We learned how to deal with life and not blab everything out into the world and complain about everything. I actually think that the people who do this are the real Karens and not the people who say, come on, shut the fuck up. Um, so, and I don't know, I probably offended this person, but they never really said anything about what was wrong. They just stopped messaging me after, you know, like answering me like within minutes sometimes, and like just being really close, messaging a lot and exchanging a lot of creator stuff as well, talking about YouTube, Instagram, and that kind of thing. And so I don't know, I just noticed like, oh, I don't get an answer. What's wrong? And I was being like, okay, well, we were always a little bit different. Maybe they just don't have the time anymore, stressed out. I don't know. And so yeah, I was just a little bit weirded out, but I didn't make much of it at the time. And then later I thought, okay, maybe yeah, that is because I put out this one story where I basically said that putting food in your mouth is your choice, and you know, as long as you're not being force fed, and that I'm not fat positive. Um, and that is because I have my own struggles with that, and I just fundamentally disagree with the message that being massively morbidly overweight is healthy. I think if you're taking off 10 to 20 years of your lifespan, yeah, of course that's your choice, but social media presenting it doesn't really make it, you know, the thing that it is, which is a disease. And when you look at anorexia, it's the other way around. You know, people would demand that. They would demand disclaimers from up to down, left to right. But when it comes to being fat, there's never any disclaimer. And I think that's just wrong, you know? Like, if you demand that for one side, you have to demand it for the other. And we're also not talking about like an interval, because I think it's really idiotic to always say like, oh, someone who's a little bit underweight, a little bit overweight, oh, you're unhealthy. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the extremes here, okay? So before anything, before anyone gets offended again. And that kind of thing, every once in a while I just see a post and I'm pissed off and I just make a little story about it, and then people get offended, I guess. So but I just didn't expect that from a friend, you know, like from a person I'm close with, just to not say anything. Because I'm the kind of person, when I take offense in something, I just ask. Because I think the internet should be like a real conversation. As in a real conversation, you would just ask and you would say like, hey, what's wrong? Why did she say that? Did she mean it that way? That was kind of harsh. Why are you being so harsh? And then I would say, well, I didn't mean it like that, but I was just ranting, and I like ranting. And what part of it didn't you like? Like, if you cannot say that, you're not an adult. It's just that the main criterion for being an adult is to be able to communicate and to say what upsets you. Just imagine being in a job situation and you cannot communicate to your boss that he is making a mistake. You are immature and you're not ready to work if you can't do that. That is necessary. That's a must. And I will never understand people who hide behind their personality, say they can't speak up, but then claim that others read their motherfucking mind. And the same way, I cannot understand people that are people pleasers and they never want to offend anybody and never have a discussion or debate or yeah, I don't know. I saw a few videos in the last few weeks about influencers talking about toxic relationships and decluttering people and decluttering relationships, you know. And I thought, wow, that is toxic. That is sick. Like, I don't declutter people. I talk to people. I make things right with people. I ask people what's up or something. And, you know, I would never just take someone out of my life without a word. And trust me, I have weird friends. I have like two weird friends, they're total weirdos. The one is always staying late on every party that we do. And yeah, this person, they're always like, it's 1 a.m., they're still there. Everyone else left. And I'm usually like, hey, you want to take the next bus? It's going in 10 minutes. Oh, no, I can't make that. But the one in 40 minutes, I'm going to take that bus. And then me and my husband were like, really? And this person just doesn't pick it up. And we've made our peace with that. Is it annoying as hell? Yes. Do you end a friendship over that? No. Because being adult. Being adult means you can deal with 1 hour of sleep less than usual. And you had fun with your friend just because they leave late doesn't make them like a shitty friend. It's one thing that annoys you about them. If you cannot take one thing that annoys you about a friend, you are the problem. You're the shitty friend. Okay? So, and how did I get here? I don't know. So I'm gonna drink water now. Water, coffee, and here we dig. So, oh, you writing something. Hi, grüß dich. Let's see. Let's read this. I know that you don't judge me for being overweight and totally agree on health issues, but it's a marathon, not a sprint for me. I know this person who wrote this, thank you for commenting. That is such an important thing to say because I know that I'm sometimes harsh and I also read your messages and I totally agree that I'm often very harsh and sometimes come across mean, but that's never my intention. So I'm actually, I'm truly sorry if that came across that way, but sometimes I'm just taken away by my rantiness. So, and I totally agree that it's a marathon. It's a long-term thing to commit to. And I think while you're on that journey, you know, of improving yourself, weight loss, whatever you want, you know, because I don't really like the term weight loss. I prefer the term body change because it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to change your weight. I mean, maybe you do, but sometimes it just means you have to change your composition because it's a difference if you're 190 pounds muscle or 190 pounds a lot of fat that is pressing on your organs, and that makes a huge difference. So, but I totally agree that that is so difficult to change. You know, I tried to build more muscle, and that is just so difficult at my age. And so, yeah, I know. Anyway, where was I? I was at this whole being offended as a job. Like, I think just some people, they take it too far to like cut off people for no reason super fast. And I'm not specifically talking about my influencer friend here, I'm just talking about people in general because I've seen people break up relationships, friendships, marriages over nothing. It's always over not agreeing with the person anymore, being a little bit more apart, finding that something is wrong and not being comfortable anymore. And I always ask myself, because I'm really old school with this, I always ask myself, would I do this with my own kid, with my own family? Because friends are very precious. The older you get, the less friendships you will have, and it will be harder to make friends. Believe me or not, I'm almost 40, and trust me, it's only getting harder, not easier. So cherish the friendships that you already have and don't give them up over bullshit like who has a French spoon or not and who has dreadlocks or not. Like that should not be, if that stuff is important in your life, you're watching too much woke YouTube. And it's not good, okay? Stop watching that crap and make up your own mind over things and really think about things. Because I believe that, you know, opinions, they have to come from understanding stuff deeply, theorizing stuff, and really having that grow in your brain and not just taking on something that you agree with. Because I think today opinions are often formed by just copying others and seeing, oh yeah, that's a cool opinion. I want to have that too. I think that's my opinion too. I identify with that too. I identify as this, I identify as that. And then you're in this kind of toxic identity politics thing. And first of all, I'm not a political person, but that kind of thing I've seen it a lot over the last few decades, and I really think that people should be humans first before they pick like a box they want to live in. And so, time for coffee because I lost my thought again. Mm. So yeah. Um, anyway, woke shit. Oh yeah, let's maybe talk a little bit about the appropriation, cultural appropriation thing, because I'm a big fan of appropriation. I take something from everywhere I go because I don't travel a lot, but when I travel, I want to bring something home. So I bring souvenirs. I'm going to show you one right now. So that is something I brought home from Sweden, from Sapmi, which is the uh, where the Sami people live in Sweden, and it's like Sami silver, and they handmade it's a handmade bracelet. You can wear like this, and I wear it a lot. I really like it, and so this thing, I actually talked to a bunch of people over there, and I heard that some of them, they struggle selling this kind of souvenir because if you are up north in Sweden, you can find this everywhere in souvenir shops. And I heard that they sell a lot less now because the hipsters are afraid of cultural appropriation and being seen with these folklore Sami items and being like, oh my god, I'm appropriating that culture, I'm not part of that culture. And if I wear this and I meet a person from that culture, they're gonna think like, I'm stealing something from their culture. Culture is not that superficial. Culture is not a bracelet. You cannot steal culture. If you put yourself in a stupid Native American costume and a costume and you play like a Native American as a joke, everybody will see that as a fucking joke. Nobody should take that seriously. If you're taking that seriously, you have a self consciousness issue, not a cultural appropriation issue, because you cannot appropriate something by mocking it. That's not taking it and making it yours. Real appropriation would be if you fake being one of them, if you fake being from another culture. Not if you take the culture in really because you like it and you adore it and you want to have it in your daily life and wear it and enjoy it. That's not appropriation, that's appreciation. And I think that, thank you, that is a really nice compliment, by the way. Why does the chat disappear on me all the time? It's so hard to pop up the chat. I think it's impressive what kind of values you have and what you said about friendships and how you think. So thank you very much. That's really nice of you to say. And it's actually hard to come up with this kind of shit in English because I'm not a native speaker. I appropriated that language and now I'm talking it, and it's actually not that easy for me to do that ad hoc. So anyway, let's talk what she's saying. Okay, despite that, I learned for myself that certain behaviors that humans expose when I have intense contact with them are not good for me. Yeah, that is perfectly valid. I'm not devalidating any of that. Because I think both can exist. It's not like you have to stay friends with somebody you notice is not good for you. And I also have no problem with somebody, leaving me and saying like I don't want to be online friends with you anymore after like 5 years or whatnot. I understand that people feel that way if they have too many disagreements with me and say like I just don't like how you speak. Like I'm sorry, we don't have chemistry. But you can say something like an adult person would end a friendship on a personal note. Yeah, that is how we did it in the 90s. If you can't do that, you're not an adult. I just don't think you're an adult if you cannot do that. So let me just now I found out you have to swipe and then you get the chat. Do you have contexts like this and how do you deal with that, or can you distance yourself from that in a productive way? Well, I don't have contacts like that anymore, but I actually ended these friendships. I had also a follower who I met once, and this person basically, at some point, this person was always commenting on my videos and talking a lot with me and just pouring their heart out on the phone, and we were a lot on the phone while this person was abroad also, and they were always very eager to tell me everything about their life, their family, the problems with their sister and brother and mother and business and stuff and how they plan their life, everything really intense. And I think, like, after all, I think this should have been a red flag if a friendship starts off like super hot. You know, if like from one day to another, it's like, wow, I feel like I know everything about this person just within a few days, red flag. Because this was so nice for me because at the time I didn't have a lot of friends and I just thought it felt a little bit like home. And at the same time, I also felt that it was a little bit weird, but I didn't make much out of it because I just, I'm a weirdo and I accept others for being weird, and my social understanding social cues, I'm very limited in that. I have a very hard time to read it when people are ironic or especially over the internet. That is why I always ask. I never assume anything. I just try to always ask, unless it's like crystal clear that this person is an asshole. I just always ask. And so I don't know. I just really like talking to this person. I like the gossip because that kind of gossip was just making sense and was just, we were just ranting together sometimes, and it was nice talking to this person. But then somehow, I don't know, we had like a fallout. I don't even remember what it was about, but essentially I took this a little bit personal, and I told this person everything I didn't like about them in the first place. Oh yeah, now I remember what it was. I think this person said, well, we met, but then um, we didn't pursue it further, and that had a reason, as in this person was implying that we didn't meet again because um, they didn't engage with me anymore. But what they really did is message me, send me voicemails, talk to me for hours on the phone while I had like a little kid, like a 2-month-old baby, and my time was really limited, and I spent like 1 hour of my time with this person talking to them, and they just that is what I was good enough for. But for meeting in person, yeah, they didn't pursue that. Right, all right, yeah, sure. We did not pursue that, is what this person said. Like, and I was like, no, you did not pursue that. And then this person said, like, basically that we didn't have chemistry, and that is why. And so I was like, well, fuck you. And also, I kind of never really liked you that much now that I hear you say all this. But I think the wrongdoing from my side is that I didn't say that right away because there were so many red flags. And so often I just had the impression that this person is very arrogant, very narcissistic, very into their own work, and very self absorbed and just looking down on me. And I never really said anything. I just went along with it because talking to this person was nice. And so I basically blabbed out all of that, made a big mess, and said like, okay, fuck you, and unfollowed this person. But I think it's still better than saying nothing. I mean, I think both can be unhealthy, but it's always unhealthy if you ghost somebody. That is just always not an adult way to deal with it. That's all always should always be a sign that you're not okay with yourself. Because if you're okay with yourself and your opinion on a person, you should be able to voice it towards that person in their fucking face. If you cannot do that, you're just not there. You're not just there. You're not there as a human. So let's see, comment. Um, Do you always have do you also have behaviors that are on the red flag list? Like myself behaving weird? I don't know. How would I know? Um, Probably everyone has that, but it's like if you have a lot of like 10 red flags or something, um, you should be doing something. By the way, I could end this. I maybe have to end this live stream any minute because my husband is outside with my kid playing, and they're gonna get home at some point. Um, Adult is when you end a friendship and you tell the person. Yes, that's what I said. I think you should always tell the person and communicate, because being an adult means you are able to communicate even things that you don't like to communicate, like writing an important email to your boss or to somebody you work with, and you really kind of don't like writing that email, but you have to. And that's just decent human thing to do if you end a friendship, especially if you spend a lot of time with this person, to not just ghost them. Yeah, taking the responsibility of, acknowledging your own behavior. And I don't think it has anything to do with the justification or just, giving them like a little goodbye and fuck you, not that kind of thing. Like, I mean, you can do that, but I think that if you do that, you will not feel good about it later. Like, this friend that I had, and I told them to piss off basically, and that I didn't agree with their lifestyle anyway, because they were pretty, I don't know, a little bit snobby, rich, kind of looking down on people who, yeah, are not doing that or taking it for something normal to be able to afford certain things, and just not being very empathetic towards people who don't. Um, but maybe that was my wrong perception. I don't know that, but I just had some pressure points there and it didn't feel comfortable. And I told them that. And afterwards, I was not super proud of myself, but I still think it was good that I um, kind of stepped on that person's red flags. And I don't know. I was happy that I said something. It was better than saying nothing. Anyway, let's get back to the cultural thing, because I think that was that, or the fat acceptance rant that I had on my page. That was probably one of the reasons why this person just unfollowed me, because, oh, this is too much. No, now she's taken it too far. Like, how did you not know? Like, I was always like that. The world changed. I did not change. The world changed into being okay with people gaining weight through the pandemic, because it makes so much sense to continue how much you eat when you're working and walking a lot all day. And it makes no sense to just adapt your intake to your activity. Like, that is the weird thing. And if people do that, they're starving those. So, yeah, sure. Yeah, I just didn't agree with that whole mentality of 2021 and 2022. And so I'm a bigot. And the thing is that, I mean, I'm understanding. This is basically my story. I stopped my sport. I was injured. I had to study a lot and sit at home. I ate the same and didn't move anymore. So yeah, that is how I gained my weight initially. If you watched the last live stream where I discussed that at length, so I'm not gonna discuss that in this one again. But yeah, so I understand. I just don't think it's very intelligent. Like, you always have a choice. If you're not being force fed in a hospital, you have a choice. So what you put in your body might be super hard to do it, but it's your choice. Is that choice harder for some people than for others? Yes, absolutely. Does it make it an impossible choice? Nope. If it was impossible, we would all be morbidly obese. We aren't. Some people can hack it. maybe they're just lucky, but that applies to every part of human life. You know, you could also always say like, oh, this person has a Nobel Prize. Maybe they were just lucky and they had privileged parents. Like, how do you know? How do you know? And where is the measure for that? Like, where's the level when you can say, oh, here it starts to be hard work, and before that it's just luck, and maybe it's just both, you know, and that doesn't devalidate one or the other. So yes, take a look at the chat. I like that you write so much in the chat. That really helps me. Sometimes friendships just end without a decision. Sometimes it fades out slowly, and you change, and the other changes, and uh, no one intended to end it. Yes, I agree. That also, I think that is also fine. You know, yeah, that's probably a very valid point that you don't always have to be explicit about it, but I still think it's good to be explicit. You know, as in um, I have some of these too that I met people and they were really nice, but we just didn't hit it off. And I'm usually doing this that way. I'm sending out a message to all my contacts on WhatsApp, and I'm being like, "Hey, you guys, I just wanted to message you guys and ask if you still want to be friends, if you plan to meet with me eventually, because I want to clean up my contacts and just tell me if you have the intention of meeting ever again. Do you just want to chat or keep me in your contacts?" And just trying to be positive about that. And I did that in 2021. I just sent a message to all of my WhatsApp contacts saying like, I'm cleaning up my contacts. You want to be in my list? Am I still in your list? Do you still care? Just be honest. I'm not gonna be offended. And if you know me, I'm really not gonna be offended because I wanted to clean out that list too. And I only sent that to the people that were like in this gray zone of, I'm not sure if you're still my friend, if you still care, or if we were just, you know, nice acquaintances. But I personally, I don't think you need acquaintances in your WhatsApp contacts. Like, no, I don't need acquaintances in my contacts at all, because like whenever I go through this list, I look at it and I feel like, oh, well, I met this person once, and then I just kind of feel guilty that nothing came of it. Um, and yeah, I just want to admit that because it really gives me a bad feeling to go through the contacts and see like, so sad nothing came of it. And yeah, I just don't want that in my life, and I don't think that others deserve that in their life, and I don't want to clutter up their life. I wonder why it seems so much harder to make friends the older you get, because you have less hobbies and less contacts in general. And in the workplace, you also have to be professional, so you cannot mess it up with messy personal stuff, you know? So it's really, people think about making friends in the workplace a lot more, because just think of COVID, you know? People disagreeing on that on such an extreme level, as in marriages ended over who's vaccinated and who's not. Like, that's fucking insane. Just think about that. If you have a major disagreement over some religious shit, like whether you believe in something is good for your body or not, and then the other person is like, well, if you don't do this, you're a Nazi. Um, just think about that. You don't want anybody in your life that you would risk having a major disagreement with. You know, you don't want anybody in your life that can be the reason of a fallout, because that is just something you don't want in adult life anymore. In adult life, you kind of just want it all chill, okay? Like going out in your 20s is like dancing around the bush. Going out in your 30s is like, yeah, I'm gonna stay the night, we're gonna fuck, right? And the other person's gonna be, yeah, nice, glad you said it. Yeah, glad I said it. That's the way you do it when you're an adult. Like, maybe some romantics out there disagree. I don't know. If you want that kind of stress, okay, go for it. Enjoy yourself. But I think the more direct you are, the older you are, and if you learn to be more direct in a positive and still, you know, not offensive and not overbearing way. Like, the example here was maybe a little bit, I don't know. But let me just say, like in a job, for instance, in your work environment, you want to be very open, because otherwise you just waste people's time. And you don't want to be super personal either, because that just long term doesn't fly well if you bring too much of your personality into a workspace. So I'm just gonna read on in the comments. Um, because nobody cares if you're a cat or a dog owner. Like, and if people start caring about that kind of stuff and they making how they work with you dependent on that, they're morons. Um, it wasn't like that for older generations. Could it be that our society is more individualistic now? No, I don't think they. I think they just don't have the data on that. Like, and maybe a little bit though, maybe a little bit. I cannot judge actually, because I haven't seen the data. I only saw the data of like current ongoing research, and it shows that older people have less contacts. But is it the same people than, when they were younger? In general, older people have less contacts. I think they have more like fixed contacts, and that you have a lot more fluctuation when you're younger. So it might seem that you have more friends, but you actually just have more fluctuation, if that makes sense. Like, you have a lot of people in your life that you meet more people in the workplace, you meet more people through due to hobbies, but you don't necessarily hit it off. And then in the end, you just kind of have your 5 good chess buddies, I guess, and yeah, you see them all the time, and there is not much fluctuation anymore. Maybe that thing. But I believe that if you have a lot of fluctuation, you also have more possibilities to hit it off with somebody as a friend. And so anyway, I wanted to get back to this cultural thing for 1 second, because I think it's really important. Um, because I believe that this whole wokeness thing in today's age, it just weirds the shit out of me. Like, what is it with that? I will always understand that people want to, a little bit gatekeep their culture from exploitation. As in, for instance, I understand that if you get upset when a brand like H&M or some major player benefits off of native culture, that would be an example that I think is very agreeable. As in, when you see that one brand, they ask native creators to work with them, so those people can, create like fashion, and maybe they use some patterns from their culture, from their wardrobe, and implement them in like a fashion, pret-à-porter fashion. So this is different from people, from a big brand just going like, oh, let's look up this Native American pattern, and it's just printed like without any credit, without working. They can afford that, a big company, they can afford to give credit, they can afford to work with actual native creators and people who really have the expertise on this kind of stuff, on the materials, on the patterns. This is an example I actually read about, and I agree with that it is the nice thing to do, to work with those creators so they benefit from that. As in, like with my bracelet here, I bought that from native people. I did not buy that from H&M. So this money directly went to them. And that's what I want. I would not want something that is fake. And yeah, I believe that is appropriation for no good. But I also have a poêle à crêpe, which is a crepe pan, frying pan at home. This is 100% French, Breton. I have that at home. I will always make my crepe the real way, like it is done in France, in Bretagne. I will always do it like that. Why? Why would I do it? Why would I? No, I don't want the kind of crepe that they sell at the crepe stands here at, like, for instance, the Olympic Arena. When we go there are like these tiny food booths where you can buy pancakes, or crepe in this case, but it's not really crepe, it's pancakes, and they suck. And they're expensive, and yeah, I don't like that. So I want to learn the real thing, have it in my life, and appropriate the fuck out of it. Because I really think that is making my life better. And if somebody comes to my country and says like, oh, I want to do something German and take it home and make it, even if they're not doing it perfectly, I'm not gonna gatekeep this culture. And I think that is something minorities are really afraid of, that you're taking something away from them and then they kind of get forgotten about it or something. I don't know what the actual fear is, because I think that people cannot actually do that. You cannot steal a culture, because the culture is so much more than a recipe or a way to wear your hair or a dress, you know. And if anything, if people walking around with souvenirs, they're being asked where this comes from, and then more people look into it. And in the digital age, I think that can help a culture. So let's watch the comments. What is it saying? What are you guys saying? So I needed to end a relationship because of jealousy. I had a friend who said she didn't want to introduce me to her boyfriend because I was too beautiful, laughing my ass off. And that's just one of the reasons. Oh, yeah, that is a good reason. That is actually a good reason. I don't know. I also had a friend who would never introduce me to their spouse, and were always like, oh no, I don't want you to meet each other. And I later found out it was because of they. I was trying to keep them anonymous, but now I said that it was a girl, so yeah, fuck it. She didn't want us to meet because she saw me as a threat, and I also kind of ended that. But the weird thing was that after a few years, we came back and we talked about it, and I said, like, that this was completely ridiculous. And she was like, yeah, you're right. So that is also how it can go, you never know. Because, people, I will always give everyone a 100th chance. Just a 100th? I don't know. 100 times of chances, because I think that people can change if they wanted to. They don't change if you want them to, but they change if they realize that they're being morons. And so I will always say to people that they can come back, but I want to hear a little something then, because I also had friends that disagreed with me on some minor bullshit, and then basically said like, oh, you're mean. I'm like, yeah, you knew that. And then totally went down some misunderstanding rabbit hole until they had just put out a massive rant and being like, you're toxic. And I basically at this point didn't even say much. I just said like, come on, dude. So yeah, anyway. So I think if I have to end it soon, because my husband just called and I think he wants to come home from the playground or something. So let's see what you guys wrote. Yeah, I think I read every comment. Thanks for liking and watching the live stream. I think it's really nice that more people showed up. I don't know why that is, because it's the same time zone, but maybe it's more Europeans today. I don't know. And I think I said everything. And so let me end this on a note that I think you should never live your life with the thought in mind that you don't want to offend somebody, strangers especially. Make content. If you're a YouTuber, if you're making content and you feel like, I don't want to offend anyone, you're always going to offend people, even if you're like super friendly. Because when I look at videos, like even harmless videos, people get offended. Like I have this one video where I say like, I don't have a bed, and people are offended by a little clickbait. It's YouTube. Get over it, child. It's like, in the first few seconds I say, you know, I think I have a bed, but people always give me that I don't have a bed because that is how my bed looks here behind me. You see that? That is my bed, and it's not like it doesn't have a bed frame. But why would I put I don't have a bed frame in my description? That is ridiculous, you know, because that's way too long and not as clickbaity enough. So, and if you don't like it after like 1 second, well, too bad for you. Anyway, anyway, I think that people, even if you have like the most harmless content, they are going to be offended anyway. So bothering with, you know, not offending people is a waste of time, in my opinion. You should not be rude, but you know, that's also a distribution. Like some people are here, some people are over there, and a lot of people today consider things to be rude that actually aren't, and I don't know. Oh gosh, my husband is just messaging me that the kid doesn't want to put on the mud pants. My kid is outside wearing tights and doesn't want to put on her mud pants because she wants to get a dirty booty, I guess. So yeah. Anything else? Any questions? Now is the time. Let me know what you think. Let me know what questions you have. What kind of topics you want me to do in the upcoming live streams? Do you enjoy these live streams? Do you think they're too boring? Should I change anything, spice it up or something? Bring in some nice lights in the back? Or, I don't know, do an updo? I don't know. You let me know what I should do. I tried to make my hair pretty for you guys today. Don't know if it worked, but I washed it. So, I wish you all a really nice weekend, and I hope that you took something out of this. You like my live streams, how they are. Thank you. My live streams are made to be relaxing and chill. They're just for my audience. They're not to accumulate followers or anything. I just make them for the people who want to watch them, and because I think it's cool to have a contrast to the planned and scripted content so that you can actually see how I'm kind of talking when I'm not talking to a camera to make like a scripted something. Yeah, anyway, that's it. I'm gonna try to find the exit button now, and see you guys soon. Follow me on YouTube, on Instagram. Also have TikTok. My TikTok is minimalistisk, and my Instagram is undine.almani, and my Patreon is also Undine Almani, all written together. So if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, it starts at €2, which is like about $2. It's always gonna be cheap from now on because I updated it, and you get early access and ad-free access to all my videos over there and some other perks as well. So bye bye. Nope, go out.